here on the outlap. This will be quite interesting on the fight because Richard Leach has done one lap already, so he's got warm tyres, and I think the gap will be very small at the end of this lap.
And don't forget, Richie's tyres were 20 laps newer, so 2 stints newer, so not sure that he changed tyres either. So although the Ferrari with fresher tyres should be quicker, now Richie Leach unfortunately has got himself stuck behind Tom van Rompuy. Is that Van Rompuy or is that the 33 Corvette? I think that might be the 33 car of Ben Keating, so a lap behind. And he's not in a position to close on the Ferrari. The Ferrari is further up the road, and the Iron Danger in the gravel. That's Rahel Frey in car number 85. And where is that? Is that the chicane?
Yeah, it's down at the second chicane.
All right, so yellow flags at Marshall's Post 16. She hasn't long been in the car, half a dozen laps at the most. One of the 2 silver drivers in the car, and she'll be talking on the radio, but they are going to have to drag that car out backwards now. They have sort of dropped a little out of the top 6.
Contact. I thought the line, yeah, it was out with the Lexus.
That was a Lexus, yeah. And that looked like the Lexus with the black highlights, which will be 87. Ooh. It was.
Yeah, slam dunk that one, isn't it?
Oh, and what was spinning behind it? That was an LMP2 car. Let's see that one again. I mean, I'm not a steward or a driver's advisor, but I find it hard to blame the Porsche for that one.
Lexus is too far back. That's what I say, slam dunk that one.
Yeah.
Can't blame Rahel Frey at all for that.
What was the other car involved? Because there was, just in the corner of the shot, wasn't there, an LMP2. Oh! Come on, let's see if the chocolate reverse is going to get her out of there. She's got at least 1 tyre on hard standing.
Full course yellow at 6:38 in 38 seconds. Full course yellow in 30 seconds.
I wonder why they have to leave it so late. Surely you can just get the full course yellow done straight away.
Full course yellow in 20 seconds.
Alessia Rivera being congratulated by the team for holding the lead for the 21 Ferrari.
Full course yellow in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Full course yellow, full course yellow.
Not AI like some of the dodgy promo videos you see on screen. That is the voice of Lisa Weishart, our assistant race director, but it is on tape, so she doesn't actually have to be awake to say that every single time. Full course yellow then, everybody down to 80 kilometers an hour, which is handily programmed into the cars on their button. Not the same as the pit lane speed limit, that's 60 kilometers an hour. And everybody very familiar with the 80Ks. Now, instead of pulling the car backwards and ripping bits off it in a gravel trap, the modern way is that each of the car is fitted with 2 sockets in the roof, into which tailor-made parts of that crane jib will lock, and you can then lift the car out of the gravel, far less damaging. And Johnny, we've all seen cars being pulled out on the end of a tow rope, minus several bits of important bodywork, floor, splitters and all the rest. So that's definitely the way to go.
Yeah, this will obviously save a bit of damage, or potentially more damage. She's very unlucky because it looks like the left-hand set of wheels are on the tarmac, but the right-hand set are in the gravel, and you could see she was very, very close, engaging reverse and first gear, to not being able to rock it and actually get going in the gravel trap. So pretty unfortunate there for Rahel to just be in that situation.
And the other problem there, of course, is she's unsighted. She's basically reversing into traffic at the chicane, even with a yellow flag out. That's a little bit of an uncomfortable situation. So on board with Richie Leach, right in front of him, that car there, that's the lead in LMGT3, no longer Alessia Rivera. That's Francois Heriot. Now, Francois Heriot is the bronze-graded driver in that Ferrari. This should be easy pickings for the Porsche. It is not a battle of equals. Not a fun situation. Who's been on the air, up in the air on the lift?
Yeah, I've been there once or twice, yeah. You're just waiting for the marshal to spin you around and sort of point you in the right direction. And they do a great job. You know, these guys have trained to do this. They'll have practiced. There's probably an exercise that they've done this week with certain teams to check the equipment and make sure everything's as it should. And it's yeah, a great job that the marshals always do.
Yeah, header post there, turning the car around. No, let's point her in the right direction. Otherwise, we're just going to have to rescue her from somewhere else if she sets off in the wrong way round. So wisely done. And again, that extra strap there, just for balancing the car. It's not always on the exact centre of ballast because the fuel tank is not always weighing the same.
Impressed actually with the marshal on the right front there, actually rotating the wheel round, making sure a lot of the gravel and dirt was coming out from that right front. Look at that. So who's the car behind these two? We know the Lexus is to blame, but yeah, you're right.
It was an Alpine.
It was the Alpine, Johnny.
Ooh,
good spot.
Great spot. Don't know which one.
36.
And there we go. Well done in the truck, boys.
There's Makawiki, yeah.
Big handful of Oppo trying to get out of that one.
We will be removing full course yellow in 40 seconds.
I mean, she was in the corner.
Yeah.
It was too late, wasn't it?
Yeah,
for the
way too late.
So it was 87.
30 seconds to remove full course yellow.
And
we will be removing full course yellow in 20 seconds.
Clemens Schmidt, the driver of that Lexus, who is likely to incur the penalty.
We will remove full course yellow in less than 15 seconds.
Richie Leitz has crept right up behind the Ferrari under full course yellow.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Full course yellow removed.
Green, green, green. Richie Leitz responds a fraction quicker than Francois Heriot, and that shows that the speed limiter may not be exactly set the same on each of the cars. They've been going for 4 or 5 minutes behind full course yellow, and if we're even a tenth of a kilometre an hour quicker, you are going to creep up behind the car in front. Leitz on the outside here.
He's got a chance as they run down towards this first chicane. But
And
not
now,
on the braking line, but he gets it done anyway.
and you would normally have said before LMGT3, the pro driver on the inside, he will brake later. He's just got that ability than the gentleman driver. But with ABS, they can both leap on the middle pedal with both feet, and it will stop.
And also, Heriot was on the racing line, so that's, you're talking about the rubber on the track earlier on, and that's where the peak grip is. So it's never that easy when you're the car on the inside, braking into that chicane. As we look at the front runners.
Yeah, this is our lead battle. Phil Hansen, the yellow Ferrari, coming under the Dunlop Bridge. James Collado, the red one, right behind him. So the yellow AF Corsa team last year in Texas became the first Ferrari to win a race in WEC that wasn't Le Mans. So the first time in any of the other races in 2 seasons Ferrari had won. The number 50 car won Le Mans last year. 51 you're looking at there, they won in 2023, but had not won since June 2023 until we went to Imola this spring. Then they won a first on-the-road race, if you like, and they have also just won a month ago at Spa. So 51 team are the championship points leaders from Ferrari number 50.
Tiniest of mistakes there by Hansen in the left-hand part of that first chicane. Just let the rear twitch a little bit too much. Gave Collado the run down towards the second chicane. Has a look, but can't do anything this time around.
Now, we've been here before when Collado was on the radio to the Ferrari team saying, let me by, I'm quicker. Couldn't get within a couple of seconds of Phil Hansen, just could not close the gap. And then down at Mulsanne corner in the middle of the night, Hansen made a tiny error under braking, couple of wheels in the gravel, didn't stop him, but it did allow Collado to close that 1 second, 1.5 second gap and go by. So we're back in the same situation, but Ferrari need to have learned from that and diffuse the situation rather than encourage it. and follow the trace. Look at the way their paths have conflated and diverged very slightly over the course of the last 20 or 30 laps. Yeah.
Colado's done it. I wonder if that was a message that came through. It must have been. Hansen didn't place his car in a defensive manner there.
I think he was close enough, and if AF Corsa had asked the team, the yellow car, to move aside, then I'm sure Phil Hansen and his crew would have gone, we're going longer than them on fuel, sit in the slipstream, save that energy, save that energy. Yes, we would like to lead, but we would like to lead in 9 hours from now. It's not critical at this moment.
Yeah, there was no resistance whatsoever from Hansen there. I would have expected you to go to the inside to defend that.
Seeing that replay again, to me, Anthony, watching as a punter who doesn't drive fast cars, that looked like Hansen was lifting and coasting a long way before. I mean, that wasn't just a last-minute late lunge by Collado. He came flying by.
Yeah, Hansen just doesn't have the pace at this point. Doesn't have the pace of Collado, and they're on the same age tyres, and they've gone the same length as well. Both 12 laps completed in the last stint.
And that was the outlap for both cars, wasn't it? Or was it not? Oh no, there was full course yellow. That's why it was a 6-minute lap. Yes, yes, yes.
But yeah, so Collado's done 4 laps. So we see the Porsche number 6 come in. The car 83's done 5 laps. Hence, there when we saw the energy graphic, a couple of percent lower for car 83 this time. So it's car 83, they were saving a bit of fuel earlier on compared to the other 2 red Ferraris. And now it seems to be reverted back to they're doing the same amount of laps per stint.
Now, after that trip into the gravel, by the way, no trip to the pit lane for a checkover by Rahel Frey in the Iron Dames Porsche. She's just been put onto terra firma and is cracking on with it. So clearly it feels okay. On board with the 20 BMW, is this for position or is he in traffic? No, this is for position. Mike Conway's red and white Toyota breezed by him, didn't he? Wow. So 20, Robin Freins, straight by Conway. No mistake there. And that was arrive and drive past. Just whistled by the Toyota.
Yeah, nothing with it. We've seen the Toyota struggling with straight line speed, haven't we? And I think more so for car 7 because they've been carrying that damaged bodywork since lap 1 of this race.
Oh, the BMW struggling to get past the Mustang. Now the Toyota is going to lose much more time, and he does. So the gap that was suddenly shrinking as Freins got caught in the first part of the Dunlop Porsche curves extended again in the second part.
There's a slight tyre advantage from car 20 that Freins enjoys, just half a stint worth.
And again, it may not be necessarily so much the life of the tyre, but whether the car is happy on that tyre. And it does look a little bit as though the Toyota is not happy. Has Conway got a 1 and 3 split? Has he got soft right and mediums all round the rest?
Conway continues on the tyre that Nick de Vries was on before, with 3 soft tyres and 1 medium left rear.
Okay.
And the Robin Freins car had 4 new softs.
Did he indeed? Okay, now we were surprised that BMW didn't go soft earlier as the temperatures dropped, but they're hanging on to them longer. Track temperature's only just about 21 degrees, air temperature hovering around at 16 about an hour ago. It won't be much higher than that either. Clement Schmidt, Rahel Frey incident at the first chicane will be investigated by the stewards, as all contact is. It's just an official notification. Everything for transparency. And that is the other Lexus, that's the 78 car, Arnaud Robin, the red car just in front of the Cadillac of Jenson Button. So Robin Freins, Mike Conway and Jenson Button now rolling his sleeves up in that gold Cadillac. That's the number 38 Cadillac HTJ. HTJ, the TLA for Hertz Team Jota.
So it was the the car 3:11.99 in the Mulsanne corner. No further action from Fred Vesti's. I'm quite surprised by that, but a lucky escape for Vesti.
Well, it's not just different camera views, security cameras and so on, closed circuit cameras that the stewards have access to. They also have access to all the data from the car, from the FIA truck. So they will see whether, let's say, Neil Jarni caught Vesti out because he's got a braking problem and he was trying to avoid a lockup by getting onto the brakes a little earlier, and Vesti's still hard on the throttle going, well, hang on a minute. So you can see those data traces and you can compare them to a previous lap as well. So that will be what got the Cadillac out of trouble. Back with our battle for third place. The fourth place car is Niklas Nielsen in the Ferrari, now just 1 second behind Sébastien Buemi. And a slew of faster laps coming in. Norman Nato in the number 12 Hertz Team Jota Cadillac in 6th place. Now the fastest lap of the race. 5 laps ago, didn't notice it coming in, 3:27.04. Just 100th of a second quicker than the previous best of Niklas Nielsen in the Ferrari. So in these cooler conditions, cooler track, cooler air, it seems as though the Cadillac teams have worked out the balance of the car a little better. Certainly it's been the quickest lap that anybody has recorded so far in the race.
Yeah, we're getting towards happy hour, aren't we, Johnny, where the track becomes super quick. Whoa, look at that. Go left, go right, pick your line.
Yeah, this is the stint that on the driver rotation you sort of roughly gauge, oh, I could be in when the track is at its prime, you know, when it's cool and rubbered up, and yeah, chance to lay down a good lap time.
And at this stage, now the sun's up, it sort of feels we've got night time behind us. What, we've broken the back of this thing? Not really, because you then have to drive all the way into the heat of the day, past lunchtime, till 4 o'clock this afternoon. That's still a very long way away. I can remember in the early days at Le Mans, plodding up and down the pit lane, and when morning comes, you think, right, we're nearly there. Just cling on for another couple of 11 hours. And it suddenly just stretches out in front of you.
So this is that moment I spotted before. Wanted to go right, and then both GTs seemed to go quickly over to the right-hand side. Luckily, they stayed line astern, and Nielsen was quick thinking to swap positions and go to the left instead.
Buemi under pressure for third. Nielsen right with him.
He really is mounting the attack now, isn't he? So it's all about where you catch the slower cars for Nielsen and Buemi. So we got a GT in front, and you're analysing from inside the cockpit, right, which part of the Porsche curves are we going to catch them?
Now, neither Toyota holding its head above water at the moment. Number 8, Sébastien Buemi, under pressure for third. We just saw Mike Conway pass for 7th. He's now down in 8th with Jenson Button's Cadillac all over the back of him as well in 9th place. So both Toyotas are starting to lose pace on this tyre. They are going to have to go back to the mediums, which is their happy place.
That's exactly what I was talking about. That time around works in Buemi's favour. If you can get around the outside and then leave your opponent hanging on to follow the GT through karting corner, another high-speed left-hander, gives you a little bit of respite before the Ford chicane.
And slightly annoyingly for Niklas Nielsen in car number 50, right behind him is Neil Jarni's Porsche. Now, that is not for position. 99 car is how many laps back? It's 2 laps behind the leaders. But it is right there, and that will be annoying because he's doing the same speed.
It is annoying because Gianni took brand new tyres last pit stop, so he's got the tyre advantage, and he'll be probably working his way through these two.
Well, what won't happen is they won't be given the blue flag, and the team will absolutely have said on the radio, car behind you is 2 laps back, don't worry about him.
James, we need target 70.5 lift and coast. We need 70.5 lift and coast.
That is your race leader, James Collado. And whether that is to match the pace and keep a 12-lap stint going. Oh, the Iron Dame stopped on the straight. That's just after the first chicane. Now, they had continued on. I beg your pardon, it's not. That's just out of Mulsanne corner. Rahel Frey says she's okay. Looks like she's working through a few controls on the steering wheel, a bit of Control-Alt-Delete.
It's like she was telling the marshals, just hang on.
Yeah.
Bear with me, I reckon I can get this going again. As the garage springs into action.
And race control will be on Discord to the team saying, what is your driver telling you? What's happening with the car?
So we're hearing that she did have a gearbox issue from earlier on. I wonder if this is the reason why she's come to a standstill. So this is the moment she got turfed around.
Well, that was...
But she was nursing a gearbox problem before this moment.
And actually, in defence of Clemens Schmidt, she may have been slower through the chicane as a result than he was anticipating. And then she
apparently
pulls
stuck
over.
in 6th gear, and it leads on from the gearbox problem she had earlier on. Being told.
All right. Okie dokie. Well, she is back underway. This takes me a long way back to when Jan Lammers was stuck in 5th gear in the TWR Jag back in 1988 for about the last 2 or 3 hours of the race. And it was only the thundering torque of the 5-litre V12 that allowed them to pull away from pit stops, and the fact that you could start the car in gear up on the jacks and drop it while the wheels were spinning. And there was no speed limit in the pit lane and all sorts of other codicils. But yeah, trying to do 9 hours with just 1 gear, and top gear at that, is not going to be great fun.
So Phil Hansen hangs on to the back here of James Colardo's car 51. We heard from Colardo's engineer telling him to basically do more fuel saving, the 70.5 target.
So are they trying to make sure he gets 12 laps, or are they trying to edge towards 13?
That's what I'm wondering.
Well,
yeah.
we'll only find out at the end of the stint, won't we? What was Colardo's last stint?
12. So both himself and Hansen achieved 12 laps last time around.
Well, Phil has done 13-lap stints.
We have seen it from that car, and it's not just Hansen, it's been
all three.
All three drivers managed it. Kubica as well.
Did Kubica? Okay, because when I was watching the last time, didn't happen. 87 drive-through penalty, I'm afraid, for Clemens Schmidt. So they have looked at the data and have discerned that he was not caught out by an anomalous corner from the Iron Dames, but that he overcommitted into a hole that wasn't there by the time he arrived at it. So drive-through penalty for the 87 Lexus. That is the 5th place car in LMGT3. Only one of our hypercars has retired so far. There's the commentator, and that is the 101 Cadillac.
Good job, Seb. Gap to the lead, 43.2. Gap behind 1.0.
Well,
yeah, Buemi has been doing a good job, hasn't he, in holding this faster Ferrari at bay.
Although Nielsen now down 330.1 on the last lap, 330.0 for Buemi. Does sound perhaps as though the Ferrari team have gone, okay, you're not gone by him, right, back onto your full saving. Let's get that 13-lap stint out.
Yeah, because at no point in the race, I believe, that car number 8 has achieved 13 laps.
And they're also in their head going, we know we can do 13 laps, and we know we can do it and match them for pace. So let's not stress about the position. Dollies are ready for the 65 Iron Dames Porsche, and if 85, and if anybody can get this fixed, it is Manthey. One of Manthey's team have got such history with Porsche. I mean, so much so that we're at the end of the Group C era, when Porsche withdrew, and the GT1 era, when Porsche withdrew from the top category, Manthey Racing became the de facto factory team. running the UPS cars in the GT category. They have been running 911s for decades and decades.
I tell a lie, by the way. Brendan Hartley managed it for 2 stints earlier on in the race.
All right.
13 laps.
In the pits is the 85 Iron Dames Porsche. And I don't think Rahel Frey will stay in the car. That doesn't look like it's going to be a particularly quick fix. And once you hit trouble like that, you've got 2 options. Either bin the car and park it, or fight it tooth and nail and make it finish the darn race.
This has been awful for Nielsen. Look at the traffic. He's had a P2 car, very slow in overtaking the GT through the Porsche curves, and you're just having to sit there waiting. Buemi, meanwhile, disappearing off down the road, seeing the gap grow between the 2 of you. So we look at the Iron Dames back in the garage there.
And as I confidently predicted, Rahel Frey is staying in the car. So it looks like they think they may be able to fix it. Oh, yeah, and it might be that their illuminated number panel is no longer illuminated. Now, that tends to be less of an issue when it's not night time. Brake check. Okay.
Well, you might as well at the same time.
Might as well. Full service wash and brush up. But she is still in the car, so they don't think it's going to be a long fix.
Well, hopefully it's software.
Yeah, that's a very valid point, actually.
So you might as well check to see if it's a software glitch. Sometimes even a steering wheel change can sort that. We've seen it in the past.
Plug in the laptop. 9 hours to go, just inside the final 9 hours. So we now have the same distance pretty much as the longest other race in the championship, the 10 hours that we race in Qatar. So this remaining race will be longer than anything else that we do in the rest of the season.
What do you find harder, Martin, in terms of commentary, doing the full 11 hours straight commentary for Qatar, or the 12 hours but over a 24-hour period here at Le Mans?
This is harder because
I find this harder too.
It is much harder. And after Spa, when we turned off the microphones, we were sort of going, I really hope Le Mans isn't like this for 24 hours because none of us will survive.
But if anyone watching this hasn't seen the race from Spa, it's an absolute must. I would go as far to say it's the most exciting endurance race I've ever seen. From start to finish, it was so unpredictable, brilliant stuff.
Yeah.
If you haven't got the time to watch that, watch the full access program on YouTube.
It is, this race just takes it out of everybody, mentally and physically, and whether you try and go all the way through, and I know lots of fans do, and I've done it in commentary myself, done 27, 28 hours at a time, or whether you snatch a little bit of sleep, a catnap here or there. I mean, all we're doing is sitting down and looking at telly, but mentally you're trying to work out what's what, why, and try and explain at least some of the intricacies of what we might be seeing. But it's just the relentless staying awakeness of it. And I do admire the teams in the pit lane because they just get no break at all. You never see the garage empty. They're always in the chairs, fast asleep with their teammates, comically making fun of them and painting things on their forehead and stuff during the race.
Yeah, a while ago we saw a glimpse of David Fleury down at Toyota, just staring at the screens, the laptop on the pit wall. They don't move, do they? They stay every time, Johnny. You're on the radio inside the car, no matter which driver it is, it's always the same voice coming back to you.
I know. I feel sorry for mechanics and engineers because they are literally been up, you know, not early hours, but early on Saturday, coming into the circuit, getting ready for warm-up, doing a bit of a brief, and then straight into the race. And these guys are really looking at every little bit of detail all the time, checking the data, having the radio comms to the driver, making sure the run plans are on schedule, feeding information back to the tyre guys of what set they want mounted, getting them prepped, getting them pressured. The tyre guys as well, they're running back and forth to Michelin or Goodyear, prepping the tyres. Yeah, there is no respite for these guys that are in the garage. And yes, drivers can get a little bit of sleep here or there, But yeah, it's pretty grueling task for these guys all the way through the 24.
And now you've got the sun coming up. We've had the daylights there, but now you look at it, the low sun as it pops up here. You head towards this corner here, Touch and Rouge. This is, it can really play havoc with it. If you've got a dirty windscreen and you're heading towards that rising sun, you are so blinded for a good couple of minutes, aren't you, Johnny? It's an awful time in the race.
This where visors or helmets are important. These guys will maybe have tinted visors and maybe dropping that slightly just to try and stop the glare as much as they can.
Yeah, because unlike a road car, you can't just flip the sun visor down on the windscreen because they don't exist. So for that moment, and it's not ideal to have your hand in front of your eyes either when you're trying to drive at these speeds.
Look at the distance still between car 8 and car 50. Nielsen lost so much time a few laps ago through the Porsche curves, as I mentioned, and we didn't get to see the full extent of that at the time, but this is still the aftermath. As the Toyota crew start to limber up.
And again, you can see the lollipop man just on the left of your screen in that bright pink suit. Normally the mechanics are in black suits with red sleeves, and that makes them quite hard to see in low light at night especially, but a popping pink suit, that really stands out. And that's a novelty here for Le Mans it's the first time they've used that. And that's why Ferrari, whose mechanics are predominantly in red, have yellow indicator guys. They're yellow suited, so they stand out in the crowd. VDS Panis Racing in LMP2, the race leader Esteban Masson on pit lane, and he is out after what looks like it might have been a quad stint. From Pereira taking over.
Looking further down the LMP2 field, Alexander Quinn, 2 personal bests, first and second sector in that car.
And just ahead of him, Algarve Pro's other car, Teo Pourchaire, personal best Sector 2 and Sector 3. They have both just set the fastest laps of their cars' races. 3:37.1 for Pourchaire, 3:36.5 for Quinn, and the leader in class, Nick Yellerly, 3:37.0. So they are right on front-running pace, even though the Algarve Pro cars haven't been the luckiest on outside the points down in 11th and 12th. And you can see that the cars in 11th and 12th, 25 and 45. 25 is a regular LMP2 car. 45 is in the Pro-Am category. And so they will be scoring Pro-Am points. Alpine stop for the 35 car. Ferdy Habsburg stays at the wheel.
Here comes our race leader. James Collado, car 51, works his way through past the United Autosport LMP2 car, with Hansen still hanging on behind in the car 83. Not letting him go, is he, Hansen?
No reason why he should, but he is also trying to keep up that pace while saving fuel. Last time round, 3 minutes 29.18 for James Collado, 3 minutes 28.83 in the yellow Ferrari for James Hansen. Looking here at the battle between Luca Giotto with the green-nosed into Europol car number 34 and Pietro Fittipaldi, the third racing generation of Fittipaldi family. And there he is in the number 22 United Autosports car. Again, just to reiterate, for those of you who may not be entirely familiar, LMP2 only racing in World Endurance here at Le Mans. It's not a regular part of the season, so most of these drivers and cars will ply their trade in the European Le Mans series, the second tier of racing, but one that is now absolutely jam-packed with talent in LMP2. And they all use, at least in this category, at least at Le Mans, they all use the Oreca 07 chassis, mandatory Gibson V8 engine, mandatory Goodyear tyres. And although chassis choice is open, it is the Oreca that has been the dominant force in LMP2 for a number of years. And the new LMP2 regulations have been announced going forward. Gibson have won the tender to supply engines for the category, and Oreca will be one of 2 chassis manufacturers that it will be licensed to build the new generation of LMP2 cars. So into your pole, leading with car number 43, Nick Yellerly back at the wheel. It was Frank Pereira that took over the VDS Panis Racing number 48 car. That's now back down to third place. And Jonas Reed in the Iron Lynx Proton car number 9. He's in second. Jonas Reed, the still teenage son, certainly very young son of Christian Reed, the Proton Racing boss.
So we're on 11 laps for car 83, 10 laps for car 51, getting close to pit stop time. Car 8, 11 laps for Buemi and 11 laps for Nielsen. And that fight continues further back from the duo we're watching on screen now.
And on that timing pylon for LMP2, you can see the P next to number 25, Algarve Pro Racing. And Théo Pourchaire has just pitted. So too has his teammate in 45, Alex Quinn, as in comes 22. And so those fastest laps for Algarve Pro set on very low fuel at the end of their stint. Definitely need to source some tea bags from somewhere. It's a dry old do.
Don't worry, my stint ends at 7:30, Martin.
Oh, you'll be all right for a cup of tea then.
No, I might do a secret. I've got a secret stash. Don't worry.
Have you? Excellent.
Don't tell anyone.
James Cottingham's McLaren we just saw in the pits there, 59. Easy to discern which of the McLarens it is because the other one's out of the race. And as you pointed out earlier, Johnny, actually, more attrition in the LMGT3 category than in either of the prototype categories. One of the hypercars, the 101 Cadillac from Wayne Taylor Racing, has retired, and 2 LMP2 cars. Nielsen's number 24 car was out earlier, and now an official retirement for the number 18 IDEC Sport car. We saw it off at the side of the road, going behind the barriers with Andre Lotter at the wheel, and despite his best efforts, that is going no further. So 18 IDEC Sport, wearing the colours of Genesis Magna Racing, that is out. And the Iron Dames, still in the garage, have dropped to the last running car as they try and solve those gearbox issues. Sébastien Buemi, keeping his nose clean in third place, isn't he, Anthony? Staying out of the clutches of Niklas Nielsen.
He really is. Once again, Buemi is relentless defensive driving and determination not to let this Ferrari pass. We saw in Imola, didn't we? Actually, it was the same cars. It was Fuoco who was, in that particular race, desperately trying to get by Buemi, ended up actually getting a penalty that day, Fuoco, in his desperation to get by and making contact into the first chicane there, Tamburello chicane, and this time it's Nielsen feeling the resilience from the Toyota driver. It's great stuff.
And I wonder,
using all of his skill and expertise and experience to do that.
do we think the Ferrari team just said to Nick Nielsen, okay, it's not our battle yet, let's just save that fuel?
No, I think he is. He's trying. He has got the speed, and he has been just ready to pounce if the traffic falls against Buemi. But consistently, it's been going the other way, and that's why we're seeing Nielsen just catching back up once again after that disastrous moment he had through the Porsche curves, where he lost I reckon it must have been about 5 seconds worth compared to the Toyota driver. So it edging closer again.
Well, his last lap, Niklas Nielsen, 3:28.8 as a go against 3:30.8 for Buemi. So you're absolutely right. He has got a real speed advantage when he's not right up behind the Toyota. Now they're coming up behind one of the Aston Martin Valkyries, both of which are still running. So they've got 2/3 of the way through the race. They may not have the ultimate race pace, but they do seem, and the team were actually fairly hopeful at Spa that they had enough endurance running that they kind of thought the cars would make it all the way through. Now, unfortunately, the attrition has not been high so far in the hypercar class, so they're not in the points. 009 is 14th, and in the pit lane, 007 Harry Tinknell, you can see just ahead of this little battle, and that car is down in 18th. Into the pits together come the 3rd and 4th place cars.
Yeah, once again, they're on exactly the same strategy, these two, but on different tyres. So let's see how they get on this time around. Is the car 50 going to be compromised on the way in? Because it was last time.
51 is not in the pit lane, nor is 83, so he won't have to come round the yellow Ferrari. In fact, that was 51 that was compromised, wasn't it, coming in? James Collado lost ground because he'd had to come... No, it was 50 that had come around 83 because there was a car gap.
So, yeah, that didn't go Nilsson's way last time as well. So, yeah. Buemi comes in. Are they going to change tyres here? I should imagine they will, because these tyres have done 3 stints now. Buemi, just the 2 himself. So intrigued to see how Toyota are going to play this. And this will get them out of sync with their tyre choices if they do, because it's Nilsson with the fresher tyres.
At the moment, but then Buemi will come out on fresher but cold tyres.
So I'm expecting Nilsson just to carry on.
Yeah,
he's done 2 stints himself, and so have the tyres. And look, they are ready to make a change at Toyota.
Either that or they're foxing. Now that's a soft. That's a soft going on the rear. What's going on? Well, if they're going soft left rear, then they're going soft all round, except for maybe...
Oh no, what's happened to the left rear? The tyre wasn't ready.
That's a medium. So it's a medium on the left rear and 3 softs. The tyre was, well, either that or he dropped it or something. They've lost time changing tyres, but they have lost time in the tyre change as well. Here's the lead battle. And Phil Hansen all over James Collado now.
Wow, look at this. Hansen not giving up at all. From earlier on, looking like he just allowed car 51 to breeze by into Indianapolis. Hansen is back on the attack.
0.3 quicker on the last lap, but a track limit infringement on the last lap as well, and that's why he was a little quicker. Buemi, Tinknell, Di Resta, Hansen and Collado under investigation for yellow flag procedures at Marshall's Post 21 at 06:55.
Here we go.
So that is Collado the leader, Hansen 2nd place, and Buemi, who just pitted from 3rd place, all under investigation for yellow flag infringement. Tinknell and Di Resta need not detain us yet, but notably, the top 3 cars at that time.
That was at 6:55.
Yeah.
That was the Iron Dames moment, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh.
Marshall's Post 21. That was the out of Mulsanne corner. Yikes. So that's when Rahel Frey's car slowed down and stopped, because Marshall's Post 21 is Mulsanne out. Okay, in the pit lane.
Watch that one with interest then. That could be race changing for
pigeons meet cat. Yeah. Manthey first form, pitting from the lead in LMGT3. So too did the Vesa AF Corsa Ferrari from 2nd. You saw the Porsche on its way. Phil Hansen is in. There is the Ferrari 2nd in LMGT3. And that little illuminated panel showing that it is filling up with energy. Doesn't have battery energy here. Although bizarrely, because they're used to doing it with hypercar, the Cadillac and Corvette team still say a fuel stop is fuel and energy for LMGT3. And unless they're giving a driver a protein shake or something, not quite sure where the extra energy is coming from other than fuel, but it's just a force of habit in their radio procedures. Off goes 83, Phil Hansen.
Yes, he's just that 1 lap out of sync with the car 51, so we'll be expecting Collado in this lap if he is to do... he'll be doing 13 laps as well. So both drivers, I just looked at the app here, both drivers 13 laps for this stint just gone by.
But Collado doing 13 laps on this stint. The previous lap, it was only 12.
Both of them were 12 in the last one, so this time both cars saved fuel. I wonder if Hansen was on the fuel save earlier than Collado, and that's why he got overtaken. And then Collado got track position, and then that's what happened.
Yeah.
and then was told to save more than he was.
Yeah, whoa, baby.
Yeah, get in front, then save the fuel. That's what was going on there.
So they're doing everything right. This is the way you win races. You go further on fuel at the same speed as your rivals.
Apart from a yellow flag.
Well, yeah.
And the penalty they got before as well for whatever it was.
Yeah, 51 was for contact. Has 83 had a penalty? I think almost everybody in hypercar has. And actually, Anthony, maybe it's the modern era where there are so many cars that are so close together. Johnny, thinking back to those big days of GTE Pro with 4 or 5 manufacturers, was it a penalty fest because everybody is so on the limit? There's just no chance to take any kind of, you know, moderate line. You just have to force everything. Do you remember it being that way?
A few times, yeah. I mean, they cost you massively. You just could not make those mistakes. But we saw it earlier, didn't we? There was about 6 cars that got pulled up, as we've seen on the screen there, and it took a while to filter through. They'll go through every single one individually, and we'll probably see in the next half an hour, 45 minutes, they will filter through to see if people have maybe not slowed down under those yellow flags, you know, for the Iron Danes car. So, yeah, it could flip the race on its head.
Yeah, we had 5 cars pinged there, and among them, the lead trio at the time. James Collado leads for Ferrari. Phil Hansen, 83, has just come back out of the pit lane, and Collado makes it to 13 laps and is in the pits, and that will cycle potentially, depending on what they do with tyres, Hansen right back onto his tail. Hansen's stop, 1 minute 16. Kevin Estra's last stop in the number 6 Porsche, 1 minute 14 seconds. That's a really quick stop, and actually Penske Porsche turned Felipe Nasser's number 4 car round in 1 minute 14 last time they were in the pits as well.
You see the circuit, the circuit map with car 83 working his way through the Porsche curves right now. It's 51 stationary in the pit, so yeah, let's keep an eye on that, see who exits before who.
And Johnny, you're right about those penalties earlier on. So lap after lap, they filtered through. One penalty, another penalty the next lap, another penalty the next lap, another penalty the next lap. As the stewards have gone through all the data, then gradually the penalties have been issued. It's not that they only issue one a lap, that's just how it seemed to fall. And certainly there are 5 cars there with 3 of them a major issue hanging over their head. If it's a 5-second penalty for contact added to your pit stop, like it was for the 51 Ferrari, that's damaging. If it's a drive-through or a stop and go, that's very, very damaging. Oh, a little bit of contact as the number 5 Porsche just has to stay alongside the Corvette for a moment or two longer than he'd hoped.
Well, and he was seriously thinking, Andlauer, seriously thinking about overtaking the Corvette round the outside of Indianapolis as well. Thought better of it. That was definitely the right decision.
Yes, it was.
But Julian Andlauer, absolutely rapid at the start of the race, wasn't he? Led the race, pulling away from everyone.
Yeah, he flew.
Now with the car 8 in front of him, fresh after Buemi's pit stop, who took that left, that slow stop, the left rear, taking an age to go on. It's that medium tyre amongst the rest of them all soft. So they're continuing that trend at Toyota.
Do you want to know how damaging that was? In the pits at the same time, the number 50 Ferrari of Niklas Nielsen, 1 minute 15, didn't change tyres. The stop for Buemi, 1 minute 38. A 4-tyre stop can be completed in 1 minute 30. That was the last stop for Earl Bamber. He had 4 new tyres, so it cost them nearly 10 seconds, and that is a lifetime.
Well, we always say, don't we, that it's operationally where Toyota keep themselves in the fight despite not having the fastest car, and that was a very out-of-character mistake from Toyota.
Well, as ever, they will respond the way they always do. Okay, it happened. How do we fix it? How are we going to dig ourselves out of a hole that we've fallen into?
So there we are, our race leaders, or effective race leaders. Still the same same positions, so their pit stops very evenly matched.
Very strange message just being told by our guys in team radio. 83 boxing this lap for a driver change. 1 lap after they've just stopped. Hansen did stop, and we're not imagining that, are we?
He did stop, and he's still Hansen.
You're not going to bring him in again. You're not going to bring him in again. Okay, that was a previous message, but they didn't do a driver change. But what we did see there in the garage was Robert Kubica putting on his racing suit. So whatever this is, it will be the last run of this current set of stints for Phil Hansen. But again, painting himself very large in the story of this car in this race, Hansen. He's been very impressive indeed. And don't forget, he's not a long-term hypercar driver. He has come out from LMP2, where he's had a very successful time with United Autosports.
I remember it seems like yesterday that Hansen was a silver-rated driver in United Autosport.
And the youngest kid in the race. Yeah. I mean, he still looks like the second youngest kid in the race with despite a beard, but yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've grown up with him, haven't we? You know, he's come in from being a teenager at United 8 years ago, 9 years ago, 10 years ago maybe now. And is really, really maturing this season, growing into this role, and of course, taking over with Ye Yifei and Robert Kubica, who are already installed in the team. You know, those are pretty serious benchmarks you're going to match yourself against, and he's come in here, he's got the opportunity, and is really working with it. He's taken the ball and run.
I have really been impressed with Phil. I was, in the beginning, when I saw he had landed this Ferrari drive, now you're in with the big dogs. I was intrigued to see how he's going to get on, and he can hold his head high. You know, teammates like the one we're seeing on screen there, we know Robert Kubica's capabilities, and Ye Yifei always been super quick in these cars, so we expected great things from them, and this was stepping into the spotlight for Phil Hansen this season in particular with Ferrari, the works team of Ferrari, and he can really hold his head high. He's there at the front of the race, challenging the very experienced James Collado, winner of this race previously, when Ferrari first returned to the top flight of sports car racing, and here we are running on board with him. And yeah, it's remarkable that journey he's been on as a driver.
And Collado, massively experienced, not just in the hypercar, but in endurance racing, a 3-time world champion in GTE Pro for Ferrari. And as you say, a Le Mans winner already, so absolutely no pressure on him from the outside, only from within. Driver change in the number 5 Porsche Penske Motorsport car. Julian Landauer and Lauer brought the car in, and it is Michael Christensen who takes over. So the Dane back at the wheel, and that will please the, I don't know how many, 60,000 Danish fans who come down every year. There's a massive campsite just for one tour company from Denmark. Of course, the most successful racing driver ever in terms of victories at Le Mans, Tom Christensen, reignited that passion for sports car racing in Denmark. Lots of wheels spin.
I saw this earlier on. The wheels are spinning frantically. The car's barely moving an inch.
Now then, adding to our list of those who might be in trouble for that Iron Dames yellow flag, number 9 LMP2 car Christian Reed, Jonas Reed, number 11 in LMP2, and that is Giorgio Rowe. Oh God, the list is endless. We've just had 5 cars replaced by 77, 90, 27, 13, 92, 33, and 57. Another 7 cars, and they've actually done it class by class. There are so darn many of them. So 5 in hypercar, 5 in LMP2, and 7 in LMGT3, all being investigated. So 7 out of 18 cars remaining running in LMGT3, almost half the field being investigated for yellow flag procedures. Did nobody see the yellow flag? I mean, literally no, because they didn't all go through it. It wasn't out for the entire field to come round a lap. So basically everybody that passed it didn't slow down enough.
Yeah, and it's the leader of LMGT3 as well at the moment.
Yes.
So, yeah, it could, again, massively change or swing that class as well. But, yeah, quite a few drivers are going to be looked at for this.
Okay.
It does come up on the marshalling system as well. Inside the car, it's not completely foolproof.
Well, there have been...
It can go wrong sometimes, but it's not like... It's strange. It's almost unprecedented that so many drivers for a yellow flag procedure have got it wrong.
That's 19 or 20 cars.
Yeah.
And we have seen penalties. Drivers have said of penalties, we got a penalty for yellow flag infringement. I did lift, but clearly they didn't think I lifted enough. And in the driver's briefing, Eduardo Freitas always says that the onus is on the driver to show that you have demonstrably lifted. A quick off and on again, when you see that there's a car at the side of the track, is not necessarily judged to be enough.
They could, obviously, with the second chicane as well, it could have been that people realised the flag was there, but maybe haven't bricked early or lifted off the throttle, and I don't know if they have that GPS or that data.
I wonder if they've just looked... You might be in a situation where happy hour wasn't too far away and lap times have started to improve, and they've seen multiple improvements just in terms of the speed carried through that corner. The driver's going to put their hands up and say, I was lifting, I was trying to go slow, but I just got more grip than I have, and I can actually see where I'm going now, and that's why I was going faster than laps previous to this one. It's the only thing I can think.
And that's a valid point, and actually that was at Mulsanne, so they are coming in there at a heck of a lick. And so that Rahel Frey had pulled over on the exit of Mulsanne, so there would have been yellow flags at Mulsanne corner. But, yeah. Nick Bull just out of the Inter-Europol car. Now, where did they stop from? They have just headed back out on track. So his most recent stint has been completed. And we continue with our coverage of the world's greatest endurance motor race. In fact, for many, the only race that counts. Luca Giotto with Pietro Fittipaldi right behind this battle for 6th place in LMP2. Giotto with the green nose on car number 34. Pietro Fittipaldi, the 2 United Autosports car, 22 has got more red on the roof, and 23 has got more blue on the roof of their red, white and blue livery. Coming up in the slipstream, Peter Dumbreck, nicely poised down to Mulsanne corner, dives to the inside, telegraphed that well, and Luca Giotto, little lock-up, but had to concede the corner.
I think it took 2 drivers to let that move happen, really. Luca Giotto just decided, okay, yeah, he's down my inside, I'm not going to risk turning in on him now. Other drivers might have, but yeah, good, solid move. He can get away up the road now.
And Johnny, you've got to survive. You know, in all of these things, you want to keep your position, but contact is never going to be your friend, is it?
No, not at this stage as well, you know. Okay, he conceded the position, but yeah, the key is not to trip up over each other and try and try and just get back into that rhythm again and continue, because there's still so much racing to be done.
Now, the other thing that they need to bear in mind is that Pietro Fittipaldi in that United Autosport car has passed them for overall position, but he's not a Pro-Am car. Inter-Europol is a Pro-Am car, or that one is, and they remain second in Pro-Am. So in, quote, their race, they've lost a track position. They're still on the Pro-Am podium in 2nd spot. So, again, that's all part of it. He's not our battle. Let him go if he comes calling. And that's sensible strategy from the team.
Yep, for sure. It's a class within a class, isn't it? So, but they'll be looking at the overall position, but right now they'll be saying, look, we're in such a good place where we are in our own battle. Let's just concentrate on that just now.
Yeah. Hands up any racing driver in this room who likes being passed. No hands shown, exactly. So you don't want to, but again, and this is all part of the overall battle for victory, whatever class you're in, it's knowing when to resist and when to go. This isn't our battle now. Pick your fights. Like bringing up kids, pick a roof of smiles from both dads in the room. Pick your battles. So Kevin Est back out on track.
Vantour back out on track.
Ah, was that a driver change?
Driver
Okay.
change.
Yeah, so Est bringing it in, Lawrence Vantour taking it out. I was looking at other things. So that car remains in 5th place. And actually, I'm not sure he does, because as he crossed the line, Will Stevens was only 1.2 seconds behind, so should have jumped him in the number 12 Caddy.
Cold tyres going on the car, of course, brand new.
Yeah.
So, going to take a few corners to get those tyres up to temperature and pressure.
Back with the battle for the lead. Why has the red Ferrari had 22 stops and the yellow Ferrari only 20? Because the red Ferrari has had penalties and the yellow Ferrari has not. And yet, look how close they are.
So just putting a lap on car number 4 as well.
And back up to 3rd place is the number 50 Ferrari. Now, 51 had a 5-second penalty added to one of their pit stops, but the 50 Ferrari had a 50-second penalty stop and go for speeding in the pit lane. So that totals up to a 90-second loss of time. And yet, although that dropped it down to about 8th or 9th when it served that penalty, it's back up to 3rd. These cars are quick. And they are as they left the drawing board stroke CAD system. So that's how the cars are running here. We are seeing the true outright pace of these cars at Le Mans. In the pit lane, car number 20, Sheldon van der Linde.
It's funny because we were talking about, let's say, 4 or 5 hours ago, and it was looking like Ferrari were falling to pieces.
On the ropes, yeah.
The 51 car had several penalties. I remember sitting in the pit lane for a 50-second penalty at stop and go.
Yeah, that was the 50 car, but you're right, yeah, 51's had 2 penalties.
And yet they're all 3 currently are, maybe it's because of the pit stop schedule, but they're 1, 2, 3 in a race. So, yeah, they've bounced back. We see that Cadillac Hertz Team Jota carry back up to 5th place as well. Again, for me, I didn't think they had it in them, and they've bounced back and they're back up again.
I want to see a replay of Felipe Nasser just getting out of the car now. The body language, it was just like, as he walked away from the car. He is spent. There is nothing in the tank. Just how everybody feels, I'm sure, among the mechanics as they get back into the garage while the team is left. Flump into the chair. Oh, how much more of this? And again, putting heat into those rear tyres. There is no longer a penalty for spinning tyres on the pit lane. Now, we've already had 1 hypercar retirement from Cadillac, the only hypercar retirement, and 311. The Whelen Cadillac is in the pit lane now. What is it with the left front corner that ails them? We'll try and find out from our pit lane operatives. Jay Adam is already up and about.